Actually, you're in a public place.
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
And it is currently 1:15 in the morning.
Okay.
Okay?
It's public accessible area to on private property. Yeah.
Right. In a known high crime area.
Okay.
Okay? And all I'm doing is trying to make sure that you guys can be here.
Okay. You should be able to move along, man.
I should be able to, but
All
I
right,
can't because you won't comply with what I'm asking.
It ain't about complying. It's about giving up my rights and let me move along. Let me do what I'm doing. I don't
But
feel
it's
it's
not
reasonable.
your job to determine reasonability. Okay.
Maybe y'all should watch some YouTube videos and then realize that.
I'm too busy working, bro.
People making those videos, they don't know squat.
Welcome back to Legal Dissent, where no matter who you are, you have value and you have rights. Thank you for joining us, and as always, if you enjoy our content, please do consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and interacting with us in the comments below. It really does help motivate me to keep making these when I'd rather be outside and enjoy the summer. This video was uploaded by Pete Stanfield on May 29th, 2022, as he was being questioned by Trey Fulton, an Altus, Oklahoma police sergeant, for being out late at night.
Okay, so I'm being told I have to show ID.
Yes.
Okay.
You want me to explain to you why?
I'm setting up my yard sale for first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right. So
I have to be doing something illegal for you to get my ID.
Actually, you're in a public place.
Yes,
Okay?
exactly.
And it is currently 1:15 in the morning.
Okay.
Okay.
It's public accessible area to on private property. Yeah.
Right. In a known high crime area.
Okay.
Okay. And all I'm doing is trying to make sure that you guys can be here.
Okay. Then you can run my tags if you want, but.
How do I know that those are your cars?
Okay. Either way, I'm not giving up my rights.
I'm not asking you to give up your rights.
Yeah. I'm not giving up my
I have
ID.
a legal justification to be here.
Okay.
Okay.
Then we're gonna have an issue because I'm not giving up my ID.
Okay. Central 41. Go ahead and start me another unit down here.
I've already got messed with like a few weeks ago here in
Okay.
the middle of the night.
Was it me that did it?
I don't know.
Okay. It wasn't.
Okay. Either way, I'm
This is
not
the
doing
first time
anything
I've made
illegal.
contact with you.
If I'm not doing anything illegal, you don't have a right to harass me.
I'm not harassing you.
Oh, that's
I'm
what they
out
said
doing
that
my
other
job.
night when they stopped me, took my ID, held me up when I was just trying to get home that night.
Okay.
Yeah, that's harassment.
It's not harassment.
When you're holding me up when I'm doing nothing wrong.
How do I know that you're not doing anything wrong?
How do you
I'm
know?
the police. People
Okay.
lie to me all the time.
Okay,
You
so
are no
even if it's the
different
middle
than
of the day and
everybody
I'm out here, the same thing could be happening in the middle of the day. You don't have probable cause in the middle of the day or at nighttime.
else. I do have probable cause.
Yeah,
to be
if
out
it
here.
looks like I'm suspicious of doing something illegal. I'm not suspicious
I
of
know
doing
that you're
anything
not?
illegal.
Because
How do you know I
the law
am?
says that.
How do you know I am?
How do I don't know?
You got to have evidence or some kind of proof that I'm doing something
It's
illegal.
called reasonable suspicion.
Yes, okay, and what's your reasonable suspicion? Just because
It's
I'm out in the middle of the
1:15
night?
in the morning.
Right,
In
okay.
a high crime area.
High crime area, come on now. What,
Storage
Altus?
buildings
Altus
get
is a high
broke
crime area?
into all the time.
Yes, I know. Oh, I know.
Okay.
There was a truck stolen from here a few weeks ago.
Okay.
You remember that report?
So now you're making my own point.
Oh, I'm making your point. Dude, shit gets stolen from everywhere all the time, day and night.
Right.
Okay. It's not illegal to be out at night. Just because you're out at night doesn't mean you can get ID'd at all times.
Man,
Bull.
I've got a reason to talk to you.
No, you
I
don't.
wouldn't
Dude,
be here.
I'm pulling stuff out, laying stuff on tables for a yard sale in the morning. It's obvious
Okay.
what I'm doing. You should be able to move along, man.
I should be able to, but
All
I
right,
can't because
let's-
you won't comply with what I'm asking.
It ain't about complying. It's about giving up my rights and let me move along. Let me do what I'm doing.
You're just arguing to argue. I'm going to wait till
Okay,
some more
we're gonna
units
see
get
what
here,
happens.
and then we'll handle it.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay?
We'll see. What's your name, officer?
I'm Sergeant Trey Fulton.
As we have discussed many times before, the United States Supreme Court has consistently held that you are not required to identify to an officer unless they have reasonable, articulable suspicion of criminal activity. Now, Sergeant Fulton does sound off some buzzwords that would give him some ammo in court. Reasonable, articulable suspicion is not an extremely stringent burden of proof, and the time of day, likelihood of crime being committed in the area, are all factors that would weigh on the side of the police having reasonable, articulable suspicion, especially with a truck allegedly being stolen from the property just a few weeks prior to this incident. Now, those are just factors and not necessarily the be-all, end-all in the analysis. The most important factor of all is the actual crime the individual is being suspected of committing. We can infer that the officer suspects Pete of committing theft because he's at a storage locker that allegedly might have a propensity to being broken into late at night.
If I'm not doing anything wrong and it's obvious what I'm doing,
I've explained to you why I'm here.
okay.
and that we have
Okay.
reasonable suspicion to be doing so.
Reasonable suspicion. I'm at my storage units.
How, you
Are
have a
my locks
disagreement?
cut? Is that lock cut? Is that other lock cut? Run
No,
my
those
tags.
locks are not
Run my
cut.
tags. They both go to the same
How do I
person.
know that those are your vehicles?
They both go to the same person. Oh, so one person let me
Okay.
borrow 2 of their vehicles. Okay.
She drove one.
Regardless, it doesn't matter, dude. You can make shit up out of thin air.
Listen,
Do you have evidence?
I'm not arguing with you.
You don't have.
I've asked for identification.
Okay.
And I can justify why I have.
And I'm going to go to jail for not showing ID.
Yeah.
That should be a secondary
comes down to
offense.
it.
Secondary offense.
Secondary offense of what?
Exactly. ID can't be a first offense. It has to be a secondary offense.
No.
Yes.
I have a reason to be here.
Okay, then that's fine. You could stop and see what I'm doing and say hi, goodbye.
And I tried that. And I also asked
You
for
don't have to.
identification.
You can't ask for my ID, or you can.
I can't.
I don't have to give it up.
Yes, you do.
Not if I'm not doing anything
Because I have
wrong.
a reasonable,
I'm at my
articulable
storage
suspicion.
units, not doing anything wrong. I got tables set up
Listen,
out here. I'm setting
not-
up for
I'm
the
not
morning
arguing
for a
with
yard
you.
sale.
I'm not arguing with
Okay, I'm not arguing with you either. I'm standing up for my rights, and I'm gonna make a YouTube video out of this, just like thousands of other people do.
you. Right.
Right. And you'll learn that you can't just step on people's rights just because
not
they're
stepping
out
on
at
your
1
rights,
o'clock in the
man.
morning. Just because somebody's out at 1 o'clock in the morning doesn't mean you can.
I'm not stepping on your rights, buddy.
You can only get ID if you suspect them of a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. What crime?
I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know.
You're out at 1 o'clock in
You
the
don't-
morning
dude.
at storage building.
Suspicion of a crime isn't I don't know.
I don't know that this stuff in here isn't stolen.
Okay. Start looking it over. Start taking pictures. Do what you got to do. My units are open for you.
So you're giving us consent.
I'm giving you consent to stand outside and take pictures.
Well, that isn't what you just said.
What did I
So
just
now
say? What did I just say?
You told me that I could
said
go through it.
no. I said my units are open. You could take pictures. I didn't say you can walk in them. Come on now.
This is a great time to remind everyone that the right to remain silent is a wonderful right. Feel free to use it. The less you say to law enforcement, the better. Don't give any kind of consent and don't give them any kind of ideas. You don't win a good citizen plaque for doing their job for them.
We got you identified. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay?
Like I said, you run the tags.
But
and
what saves you is this officer here knows you. He's
This
talked
one
to
here
you
or that
before.
one?
This one. He recognized you. Okay? All I'm doing is trying to do my job, man.
I understand,
And
man,
protect
and I have no problem,
everybody.
and I appreciate you keeping an eye out on this place. I really do.
Right.
But however, when it's like I said, when it's evident what we're doing, and there's literally no suspicion that we're doing anything wrong.
But there is suspicion.
No, just being out here isn't suspicion in
No,
itself.
that in and of itself is not.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Now let me finish explaining because
Okay.
I understand where you're trying to go. And I want you to see it from my side too.
Okay.
Okay? We're out all hours of the night. Okay? I don't know you. I've never contacted you before in my life.
Okay.
I've never contacted you as far as I know either because you don't look familiar. Okay? I'm new to this shift and I'm not used to everybody being out at night that's always out at night.
Okay.
Okay? Whenever I see people out here, I even told you whenever I walked up, the locks don't look cut. And they don't.
All right.
Okay? But that doesn't mean that there isn't other criminal activity afoot.
Okay.
All right?
And what did you observe that looked suspicious that could have been criminal activity afoot? Besides
People
just
out at
being
2 o'clock in the morning.
that
Hold
alone?
on. Let me get
Okay,
through
I'm
it,
sorry.
man.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't
keep
interrupt you.
jumping on top
No,
of me
before
whenever
that, I
I'm trying
didn't
to
interrupt you that
explain
whole time. I
things.
let you talk that whole time. I didn't interrupt.
I also wish that Pete did not interrupt the sergeant because he was in the middle of hanging himself. He admitted that the locks were not cut and that his suspicion for theft was very weak. There does not seem to be any other apparent criminal activity that is obvious to me. Unfortunately, they get sidetracked and talk about tables, stolen trucks, and not knowing each other. So we'll never hear what the other criminal activity might have been.
And then these last 10 minutes, you could have been doing what you wanted to be doing. And I could be doing what I wanted to be doing.
Okay. If I felt it was reasonable, I would have gave you my ID. But I don't. I don't
But
feel
it's
it's
not
reasonable.
your job to determine reasonability.
Okay. Well, if I determine that there's nothing suspicious,
Well, if
should
that's
be-
the case, every criminal is going to say, I wasn't doing anything.
And they say that
It's
all
our
the time.
job.
just
through our
being
training
2
and
o'clock,
experience.
just being 1:30 in the morning, doesn't constitute anything. There's people that work all night. There's people that get off in the middle of the
We
night.
work all night.
Right. There's people that go to their storage units after work in the middle of the night. We just happen to be setting up for a yard sale tomorrow.
Right.
And it ain't the first time. We've camped out here 4 or 5 times already in the past 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
And this is the first time we've gotten messed with while camping out,
Okay.
while setting up in the middle of the night.
Well,
I can
can't
assure
speak-
you that every time of the night that we see somebody out here, we're making contact with them.
The sergeant is correct. The suspect is not the one who determines reasonability, and ultimately, it's not the law enforcement officer either. The reasonableness of a stop is always reviewable by a judge in a court of law where you have every opportunity to be represented and make your case. This is one of the reasons why the structure of our country is so great, because we are not subject to the whims of individuals with badges and guns, but instead those individuals are subject to the rule of law.
Maybe y'all should watch some YouTube videos and then realize
That's
that.
the thing, though, a
I'm
lot
too
of
busy
those
working,
people
bro.
making those videos,
Uh-huh.
they don't know squat.
Well then, I guess I should go burn my law degree.
Yeah, but you don't
They-
want to
they read
accidentally step
some
on someone's rights one day.
Sovereign right,
But I wouldn't accidentally stepping on
misinformation.
rights.
No, it's constitutional rights, man. Sovereign rights, it's constitutional rights, period.
Well, a lot of those people that make those YouTube videos are what's called sovereign citizens, and they believe that they're free inhabitants and all sorts of nonsense.
And you know
One
what I
thing you
hear?
have to understand, we're trained in the constitutional law.
This is one of my biggest pet peeves. People who vigilantly fight for personal freedoms and liberties are automatically grouped with others who have inconsistent and illogical positions when it comes to the legal backbone of our nation. The Constitution creates a social contract between us and our government. There are very specific and detailed avenues to change that contract through constitutional amendments, etc. But the discussions in Washington are no longer about what do these words on a page mean, but do they even matter? Words are powerful. They have the ability to inspire, create, or destroy entire societies. Words and definitions matter. When we no longer accept as a society that there is an objective truth and meaning behind the words of the Constitution and the inspiration of our personal liberties, then we will be destined to be ruled by the people with the most power, the most Twitter followers, or the greatest ability to silence the words you choose to speak. Also, the claim that police officers are trained in constitutional law is generally laughable. What do you think? Was there reasonable articulable suspicion for them to demand identification? Let us know in the comments below. And remember that no matter who you are, you have value and you have rights. Do not be afraid to use them, and we'll see you next time right here on Legal Dissent.